Hello and welcome to the Roman Roads Podcast, Episode 1. This is the first episode, our inaugural episode of this new podcast, this new project that we're sending out to you. Thank you very much for listening. I am Gilberto Roman Aguilar, the Roman of the Roman Roads duo. I might introduce myself a little differently at the beginning of this episode, but never mind that. Here at Roman Roads, we kind of go with the flow, see what sticks, what doesn't. So this is one of the episodes that we recorded really early on. So I have to apologize for the sound quality. We're still messing around with some new mics and new audio recording equipment. So it might be a little creaky on this episode, but thanks for listening anyway. At the beginning of this episode, we talk about our history, me and Rodez's history, and the previous podcast that we had before this, and how it led into this podcast. And then we also talk about a documentary where $100,000 was given to a homeless man, and the outcome of that situation. We talk a little bit about gambling, and then I share an awkward encounter I had with a Taco Bell fast food employee. We love you, fast food employees. Thank you for everything that you do. We do joke around and about this encounter and about some things, so hopefully you take it in stride. And then at the end of this podcast, we kind of round out things, talking about censorship concerning the Twin Peaks TV show, and it's released on YouTube. And some companies are working on censorship to provide family-friendly material for movies that I considered aren't very family-friendly. But you will get more into that at the end of the episode. The plan is to upload 2 episodes a week. So look out for those. Look out for announcements on Facebook. And that's all I have to say about that. Hope you all enjoy this episode. And here we go.
Boom. We're started. All right. This is the Roman Roads Podcast. Quick note, we did used to have a similar podcast called the Something Something Podcast, but we had to change the name because that's not an original name.
We started this podcast last year under the Something Something Podcast name, and we're an open topic podcast. We talk about just different things that interest us, and we've done a few episodes posted on SoundCloud for those people who listen to us on SoundCloud or follow us on Facebook. Thank you for your support.
We really appreciate it. Thanks. It meant a lot.
Yeah, hopefully this isn't confusing now with the name change.
It's going to be the same premise and everything. And please, if you find us on our Facebook page, which is now the Roman Roads Podcast on Facebook, it might still have the name, I think, on the face. Well, anyway, the point is, let us know anywhere you can what you'd like us to talk about. Give us some topics, and we'll try and lead into it as much. Keep it clean, people.
Yeah, so one of the reasons when we started the podcast, we really wanted just to do something, kind of do a platform where we could talk about stuff. We're always having conversations. Me and Rhodes here, we went to school together. We met in elementary. And it always seemed like when we were with our friends, we always had interesting stuff to talk about. At least interesting to us.
I think it's interesting for everyone. It's how we talk about it that makes it interesting.
And we wanted just to do a little project to bring those conversations out and like listen to them and be able to share them with other people, whoever was interested in listening to them. So that's the reason we created this podcast. And last year, it's around September, October that we did the Something Something podcast.
In case you decide to fact check us, those are the ones you want to look for. Make sure we're not lying to you.
It's not fake news, man.
Not fake news.
Yeah, and then it was going all right. I guess it was a little shaky with us. That was the first time we had done something like this.
It's a lot more smooth now. Much more formal.
We've gotten a lot more.
Clearly, we have
experience.
Lies.
But so this is the new episode of we're gonna call it the new season, the new revamped version of the podcast. While we had taken like a little hiatus after we posted the first 6 episodes. And then I was surprised to see, we're getting likes on Facebook, getting more listens on SoundCloud. And then we got a mention on Facebook from a musical duo called the Library Bards.
Yeah,
and they gave us a shout out, and I was
because they thought we were a different podcast that had done a review on them.
Yeah,
which we're not. It was just because the only difference in our names was ours is the Something Something Podcast, and the one they were trying to refer to was just called Something Something Podcast. I think
it was even just like Something Something Cast. I don't even know if it was a podcast or if it was a TV show.
So, but yeah, I believe it was a podcast. But yeah, we let them know that was the wrong bump, but we appreciated it. I'm sure we got a few more likes from that, so we'd like to mention them. They're basically this they do like nerd covers
Yeah,
of popular songs?
the way they describe themselves was nerd parody band. I started looking at their videos on YouTube. They are funny. I think they're really talented, really funny, and they do like parodies of popular songs.
Basically what I just said.
Yeah,
But yeah,
with a
check them out.
nerdy
They're
twist.
pretty cool. I think we'll maybe check out a couple more of their songs and like review them on the. Well, not really review, but just give our thoughts on them. Review implies that we have necessary skills in that music.
Anybody can be a reviewer now.
You got some musical talents, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I play a little bit of the. Well, I'm a drummer.
So you play a little bit of the drums?
I play a lot of.
Do people pay you to do it? So can you consider it?
I guess yeah. You have to get paid for training. Yeah. I've never gotten paid for playing the drums, so I take that back.
He could be paid. It's a potential trade.
It is a potential trade.
But nobody has traded him that.
Has anybody paid me for playing music?
No. I can tell you right now, no. That has not happened.
But I do play the drums. I consider myself a drummer, but I know the basics on piano and guitar and accordion and bass guitar. Basically.
All right.
And the kazoo.
That's a lie. That is a lie. I'm a kazoo enthusiast, and I would know if you had that same interest. So should we jump into it?
Yeah. So now we're gonna give a shout out to Library Bards. Thank you for the shout out that they gave us.
Much props.
So now we have a new name, Roman Roads Podcast. And this is just a new revamped version of the show. So, what's today's topic? What's on your mind today, Robert?
All right, I think we're going to go...
Roadie?
Roads.
And that's Roads spelled R-O-D-E-Z.
Yes.
So we don't get confusion. I always try to spell it R-H-O-D-E-S.
Should we just go through the list of the stuff we're going to talk about, or you want to just jump right into it?
Just jump right into it, man. Like Philly D says, jump right into it.
You can't just pop out somebody like that. We haven't approved it. Okay. You're telling me... you saw this, I guess, a documentary or part of a documentary about a rich guy had an idea for a premise of a show. He wanted to give $1 million to a homeless person to turn it into a TV program, and I believe they cut it down to $10,000.
It was $100,000. Yeah, and it was interesting. It was like these three things happened.
$100,000 just to get a person who has a little homeless person.
Yeah, and it was funny. It was the other day that I happened to read on the news that a local guy from our town won $1 million on the lottery, the scratch-off ticket.
It was not us.
It wasn't us. It was a guy, and I'm trying to figure out if I know the guy. I don't think I know the guy. And then that got me thinking, wow, that's such a blessing, to win $1 million in the lottery. And then I don't know if it was the very same day or the next day. It can be.
It can be, but it rarely is.
So then I happened to listen to a podcast about a documentary that they created a few years ago where a guy gave $100,000 to a homeless man to basically see what would happen.
Because that's not cruel or unusual at all.
Well, it shouldn't be. I mean, you're giving somebody who doesn't have nothing.
I will say that. All right. No. Okay. It is because he wasn't doing it out of the kindness of his heart. He was doing it because he wanted to get into show business.
It was a social experiment, I guess.
It's a social experiment if you're doing it with maybe social scientists of some type, and they'll have standards and maybe a moral compass of some sort, but just throwing it out there to see what happens.
But it wasn't that random. It wasn't like they just picked some random homeless guy out of the streets. What they did is they went looking for someone who meets some criteria. The homeless man, Rodrigue was his last name. I can't remember his first name. But Mr. Rodrigue was a homeless man. He had been an alcoholic, but he wasn't doing any hard drugs. He wasn't a drug addict. He was mentally competent. He was a pretty average, smart guy.
Basically, just fell on hard times.
Had fallen on hard times, and was out homeless. Was
what's that like to fall on hard times and just keep rolling downhill?
He owned a bike, and he would make money by collecting aluminum cans, taking them to the recycling.
How much did he make a day again?
The number $30 a day stayed in my head.
That was the number. I'm sure that
was the number I said, but I don't know.
I figured out. Okay, it was that's a sad story. This guy makes $30 a day.
Rhodes says that's better than what he's making.
That's about what I made a day. Okay, and I've been working at. I don't want to complain too much, but same place going on, and it's I could say I could look for another job. It is hard because being poor is expensive. You gotta always fix things and help other people out, because if you don't help people out, then you're less likely to be helped out whenever you're in a pickle, which I would love to be because pickles are delicious. All right, so $8 an hour. I work about what 6, 7 to 8 hours a day. Let's call it an even 7. Because I'm bad at math, and you can
That's
just do
40 something.
That's for oh
That's
wow.
56.
I make $56 a day compared to the homeless person with no expenses who makes $30 a day. Clearly, I'm on the edge, you know. Texas, freedoms. Okay, so to jump back.
Okay, so the
I thought it was funny. Okay, I'm laughing at that.
All right.
I need to collect cans, man. I need to be a can collector. Well, he lived in the city, though, so it was probably a lot easier for him to catch him.
Yeah.
And he just basically had enough. Still, $30 a day is not a lot, especially in America. And like I said, being homeless or being poor in general is expensive. So he's had enough to pay for food, for some basic semi-amenities, and...
basically just food, and I'm pretty sure he was still drinking alcohol at this time, so his alcoholic beverage of choice. So they gave him $100,000 to see what he would do.
Alcoholic beverage of choice.
Yeah.
That is a great name for a brand new liquor or beer. Alcoholic beverage of choice. I would have that.
Because you wouldn't know what wait, but what would it be? What are you talking about? Like, what kind of beverage?
You know what? All right, check it out. Just I think I'd do surprise, whatever. It would just be awful and it'd be cheap. It'd be like alcohol.
Moonshine?
No. It wouldn't be moonshine. It would just be the least minimal effort amount of beer. It'd basically be, to put this in the quality of natural light, feel light, keystones of it's just enough beer to be called beer. This would have just enough alcohol, and to be, maybe we'd pour some sodas, open up a couple bottles of rubbing alcohol, and just sit them next to each other. Just get the fumes in there, and boom, alcoholic beverage of choice.
That's
TM. Okay.
So, all right. So this guy, he got $100,000, and he was a little, from the information I got, he was kind of overwhelmed, and he kind of really didn't want to accept it, And I
saw that. I think at first he thought that he was.
He thought it was a joke, or he thought it was
mob money, or crime. He thought he was gonna die after. Because I believe if we're talking about the same guy, which I'm pretty sure we are.
I think Bobby saw the documentary, and then I this is the podcast that I
saw it on Oprah.
On Oprah.
Yeah, it was sad life. And the way they did it is he was dumpster diving for cans.
That is correct.
He was like, "Oh, it's a suitcase," and they're like, "What's in the suitcase, man? Open it up." And he's like, "I don't think I should." He was already getting kind of nervous. And he popped it open, and he just his reaction was he put his hand over his mouth, and he sort of cowered back. And you could tell the cameramen were excited, "What do you think, guy?" And he's like, I don't know. And he was kind of looking around and sort of freaked out. And then he was like, "Are you guys playing a joke on me?" And he felt bad for him because he just can't believe that it's good for. He assumes that they're gonna take it away from him. It's not real, or there's no positive initial reaction, which is almost a sign of foreboding. So he got some money. They tell him that it's his. I think they explain the experiment to him.
Yeah, basically they said they're giving $100,000. They do give him free access to a financial advisor.
Oh.
And I believe a counselor maybe. Just to help. I know the financial advisor. I'm not sure about the counselor, but they gave him these means so he could better his life.
Manage his money. And the first thing he spent was did he get a hotel room? I believe
he got a hotel room.
You don't want to be on the street with that
really basic needs that he got at first. Very reasonable.
He had to sleep on the floor because the bed was too soft, and he was his back wasn't used to
Yes, I remember that was one of the details. He was so uncomfortable on the bed because he was so And then to make a long story short, what happened was in a short amount of time, he went from just buying small needs that he needed, stuff that he needed.
He got clothes, he got,
and then he started giving money to other homeless people that he knew from the homeless shelters, friends of his.
Yeah, the guy who worked at the recycling center where he sold the cans, right?
Yeah, he had a friend. He did have a friend out at the.
I think that guy did well with it. I think he ended up it just helped him out. It wasn't a lot. I think it was $1,000.
I don't remember. I don't remember the exact amount, but I remember he started giving some money to friends, and then he ended up getting married to this woman who fell in love with him.
Oh, what? That's the movie. The guy's just having running of great luck. First he finds all this money, then he finds the love of his life.
He ended up
Cinderella story.
Yeah, he ended up spending his money on other material things, houses, cars. I'm pretty sure just random stuff. Yeah.
Call me the shocked person.
But what happened was eventually he just ran through the money. He didn't get any employment. He didn't invest anything. And he was a pretty smart man, and they said that in some interviews he did say he kind of understood that the money wasn't going to last forever, and he knew he should be smarter about it, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
And then he just ran through all the money. He ended up broke, in debt, and back on the streets. And I remember he said that he regretted going through that. He regretted getting that money.
I remember him saying that. I remember his interview was he kind of made him kind of be more distrustful of people because and she was like in the Oprah interview she was kind of dismissive of that. She was like, well, why do you distrust other people? It was your decision, and it's because it does change people, you know.
Yeah.
I know it's but and I've heard about this too. Like with people who live on the streets, you know, they share a lot of things. They share food, they have to share time and space. They look out for each other. They say the one thing you do not let people know you have is money, because it's an instantaneous. Like you automatically
people pop. Yeah, people are gonna pop up saying that you owe them or
there's something
stuff like that. Okay, you know what? Let's see. I just brought up another article about that. His name was Ted Rodrigue. I believe so. Let me double check this. Right there, that guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It was a Showtime documentary called Reversal of Fortune. Ted Rodrigue, he was 45 years old. So he ended up on the streets, and I think they kind of lost touch with him after the Oprah interview. And
well, I mean, it's kind of hard to keep track of somebody with no set place of living, or address or contacts, and it's hard to keep a phone on there. You know, with that sort of, I bet you they didn't follow up with the other people who gave money to who were also homeless. And the sad thing is, I bet you a good chunk of them died relatively quickly after that, from people stealing it, from them overdosing, from them drinking, because it's too much. Like that's good. It's like the people who have been through starvation periods, and you clearly, obviously, once they get help, you want to give them all the food they want to eat. But once you've been starving for so long, you cannot just start eating what basically your body can overdose on nutrients. Right?
I remember hearing another story where someone went on like a kind of a hunger strike where they were just drinking.
Were they drinking chicken broth?
I think it was something like that, like chicken broth or water.
Your diet.
My diet wasn't just chicken broth; it was chicken cooked in chicken broth and rice. But something like that, where they were just either drinking like juices or just liquids or something like restraining their diet. And then they were able to go like they broke the fast, and the first thing they ate was just like a slice of bread and some strawberries or something like that, because that was just basically everything they could handle at the moment.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Basically, what I was saying, it's you have to start slow, and your body is not ready to accept all that food, and it could become a shock to the system. Literally, I think like your body can go into shock from it. So it's the same thing with a lot of stuff. Once you've been in a certain situation without something, it needs to be you need to be re-exposed to it at a slow process, and that goes for living styles, for oxygen. I mean, whenever you're going diving, the deeper you go, then the more your body slowly acclimates to the pressure. It just gets used to having all these pounds of water pushing down on you. And whenever you go up, you have to go up at a certain pace. Otherwise, your body doesn't have a chance to repressurize to get used to it, and you'll get bubbles in your blood and get what they call it the bends, but it basically means like kind of like basically a bubble in your blood. It can cause like an aneurysm. I think there's other stuff I'm forgetting. It can be it's on the lighter side. It's like being really really drunk, but it can cause like your blood vessels to burst. Right?
I know. I think the opposite was that whenever you go into space or something.
Yeah.
Where your blood gets too hot, it starts to boil.
It's not that it gets too hot; there's no pressure to keep it from boiling. It's like it's heatless boiling, and it does the same thing to water because there's no pressure to sort of hold it down. It's like, think of it this way: like if I get some whipped cream, and I start taking it like to a cave system or something, and I start going down, the pressure will slowly increase, and you'll slowly see it starting to deform and squish it down.
Yeah.
Well, if I start going up in an escalator real quick, it's going to explode everywhere because there's literally less air around it to push down on it. So the same premise is with a lot of liquids and gases. It just expands. Like balloons that go, like weather balloons, whenever they start going into outer space, they'll pop because there's more pressure inside the balloon from the gas than there is outside. So boom. And so the similar thing could happen with people. You got to be real careful with it. a bit of a tangent, but the premise applies to like
I never
social
thought of it that way,
situations.
actually. And I had seen a video. I have to look at where I think I saw on Facebook where they did a test where they took an astronaut in a they were I guess in an airplane and they kept just going off. They went so high up in the atmosphere to a point where you couldn't there was very little oxygen, and they had one guy who had an oxygen mask on. They told him to take it off. He took it off, and they were asking him questions and talking to him, and he was talking. But as the seconds passed by,
it wasn't in an airplane. It was a simulator for it.
It was a simulator.
Depressurize it. Yeah, and like take out the oxygen.
And
I remember that.
And then he was like awake and conscious, and he was basically just like smiling. And they said, "Okay, put your mask back on." Yeah. And he was just like oblivious to everything.
I remember they said, if you don't put your mask back on, you're gonna die. And he's like laughing. Goes, I don't want to die. But he can't put the mask back on.
Because of the oxygen, the lack of oxygen to the brain. And then that's insane.
And because there's different, like some people, whenever they experience lack of oxygen to the brain, it's usually panic. Sometimes they'll feel nausea. But there are occasional people who feel euphoria. And he was one of the euphoria fillers. And later, whenever he got his bearings back, I think once they helped him with the mask back on, he got oxygen, and real quickly started coming back, and you can see a little fear in his eyes, and he was thinking I was aware that this could hurt me, I just couldn't do anything about it. Like he couldn't get the mind processes started up to say, okay, I need to start moving my arms to put this mask back on. It was just like, this is bad, something bad's gonna happen, I should fix it, don't know how.
There's a thing that I see. There's a big problem in people today where I hear people, they say they're too afraid to do anything, and they end up not doing things because they say they're afraid. But that's that prime example where you say fear is necessary in order to survive.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the way things are now is our ancestors back in the day, they needed fear in order to move, in order to do something. And that's an interesting thing when you say about that fear comes back to him whenever he starts realizing situation he's in,
I can see that point.
So he needed fear.
Yeah.
Without a lack of fear, he was going to die.
Exactly. Whenever you're too comfortable, you can die. It's that stupid thing about the frog and the hot water. You put a frog in water, and you put a frog in hot water. Yeah, and it'll jump out. You put a frog in cold water and slowly raise it up, and you got frog soup because apparently we're French. Basically, the idea is
you
that,
need that.
Yeah.
As a motivator,
that kickstart, and it's like, and then some people I guess can move on just enthusiasm of wanting to grab, curiosity, which is that's a beautiful way to move forward. But fear ultimately is the better motivator. It'll get you to do everything. Like literally, think about it. All the worst stuff in the world happens because people are afraid of something bad happening to them.
Interesting side note. I guess talking about something like that. I was listening to a thing about Alfred Nobel, who started the Nobel Peace Prize, that his brother had died, and because he had put so much money into guns
wasn't it railways at first?
Railways?
He was like some mineral deposit.
Yeah, and then
he was a regular rich guy. He invested in stuff, had it produced, made, and got money.
And then his brother ended up getting sick and dying. And when they posted the obituary, they falsely stated that Alfred Nobel had died instead of his brother.
Uh-huh.
And then so a lot of people started talking about the death, and people were talking negatively about his death.
Oh, really?
So he got freaked out and said, well, if that's how people are going to view me when I die, I'd better do something, change something. And that's how he started the Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man.
So because fear of looking bad when you're dead, buried in the ground, of what people are going to think of you, I guess that's
think about, we need it. Okay, so do we tie back into the homeless?
Yeah, well, I guess I see that,
it's a motivator,
and there's one thing here in this article that I brought up where Ted says, Ted Rodriguez, when he said he was back on the streets, he says, I'm not happy, but I'm contented.
Yeah, that's terrible. And I know that feeling. I could tell you I have some contentness. I had it used to. This recent, change recently in my life is taking away the contentment too. And I got that anxiety, and it's like, I need to start doing something different.
Yeah, well, I've been in that mindset for the past few weeks before we started this podcast.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I got to do something. I just got to have something to put energy into.
That motivator.
To release that. Yeah.
And, you got that creative energy. You got that other stresses in your life. And sometimes you just need to get it out there and, I guess, express it. But think about this, too. This guy, every day went out and collected enough cans to make $30. That's a lot of cans. Me complaining about my job, notwithstanding, that is a lot of work to do. I'm sure his like shoes were worn down. He probably didn't have socks. It was that's a lot of effort every day for the bare minimum. And as soon as he got that money, he started living comfortably the way you would expect people to live. But it took away that edge, the fear of like, I need to think about the thing in front of me and move and probably plan out. Like, I bet you he would have been more careful if you gave him $20 than he was whenever they gave him 100,000.
Yeah.
Like a lot. Or even a solid 100. That would have been a better of like, this is a lot of money. He probably could have managed that way better. He probably could have made that $100 last him a good solid 6 months.
Well, I remember I heard the story of Caesar Milan, the dog whisperer. You remember the dog whisperer, right?
Yes.
When he came to the United States, he was homeless for a while, but he said he was happy to be in the United States because you could get 2 hot dogs for $1 at any local gas station.
Not anymore.
This was like maybe 15 years ago?
Speaking of
20 years ago, I don't know.
I got a hot dog, a bag of chips, and a soda for nothing because my friend got it. Thank you, Roman. I appreciate that.
It was only $2, but that's the thing. We have the thing where you can get a meal for $2, even though it's not the most nutritious.
Well, here's the thing though. It may not be. Well, think about it. If I have the sedentary lifestyle, then that's not a nutritious meal. But if I'm a homeless person, that is a great meal because
you can live on it. You can live on it.
Yeah. And also too, I put a ton of stuff on it. We go through the disgusting list of the stuff I put on that hot dog.
Oh yeah, so we went to the gas station before this to get some snacks and Rhodes here got a hot dog. So we put started off with pickles and jalapenos.
And it wasn't pickle relish because they only had the sweet relish, which I can handle, but they had dill sliced hamburger pickles. Put those on one side, jalapenos on the other.
And then he was complaining that.
I wasn't complaining. I was noting. I was taking note that they did not have similar condiments to the usual gas station fare that I was acquainted with.
And the usual condiments being nacho cheese and chili.
Yes, from a dispenser.
And then I pointed out that they were right behind him on
the
other shelf.
Good friend.
But they did you notice? So that's weird that they put the hot dogs on one side. Yeah. And then the nacho cheese and the chili were by the nacho. They were by the coffee machine.
Yeah.
Which didn't really make any sense.
It was kind of tucked away, but I don't know that maybe it was just like a space issue, or maybe that way people didn't just use it too much.
Maybe I didn't think about that.
And here's another thing that shows they don't want people using it too much. Normally, with a lot of those machines, I think they're changing them now, where you could just push the button and it starts pouring out your goo. It pours out your cheese goo, pours out the meat goo.
Pouring out your goo.
And it you just put the hot dog under it and boom, covered. But no, now there's a device set in it where it's you tap it and it gives it's a small pump and it gives you not even a full dollop. It gives you a dab of the cheese or the chili sauce in air quotes. Also saved it.
So he had a hot dog with chili, cheese, pickles, jalapenos, onions. Did you have the taco sauce?
I did have the taco sauce.
And taco sauce.
It was so good. And it looked beautiful. I should have taken a picture of it, but I inhaled it. So good. Nutrients galore.
I like hot dogs, but that's just a crime.
Oh, yeah. It was a good crime. Worth every... Oh, well, I don't know. We'll see how this affects me.
And give it 24 hours. Usually food poisoning.
Okay, but so back to the
24 hours.
So that's a lot of money. Or it's... Okay,
it's
so retying that back to homeless friend.
Well, I guess that's basically the end of the story, I guess.
Oh, okay, well, perfect.
Because this happened in 2005, 2006.
Years ago.
So that was 10 years ago.
More than
wow.
What are the guys doing now?
I don't know.
All right, so we cut into the lotto.
The lottery. So we're talking about the lottery. We bought 2 lottery tickets.
I didn't.
I bought 2 lottery tickets, $2, and I won $1.
Yeah, and it's we were just talking. I don't know. I guess I never understood why state lotto is legal, but private businesses and people it's considered illegal. Now I know there are certain exceptions to the rule. For instance, what is it football? What do you call whenever everybody buys a ticket to the
a pot.
A pot, yeah. Like churches run them. I know sometimes people can run them in house, and basically the idea is nobody's supposed to have a
church. I've never seen a church run.
I've seen a lot of them.
Really?
Yeah. And it's usually for a charity or something, so that if nobody wins, it goes to that charity. And there's a charity's exceptions to that.
Well, I know churches have bingo, not bingo.
Oh yeah, a lot of
bingo. But I know the bingo, my church when they do bingo, it's through the Texas state lottery.
Really?
Yes, they have to get they have to get a license.
I did not know this.
It's really
Whoa.
And then they have to any money bingo, because they could have like
Wow.
bingos for prizes or like turkey bingo.
I thought it was an
No problem.
exception.
No.
What's turkey bingo?
Turkey bingo? It's around Thanksgiving. You go, you play bingo, you win a turkey.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Food.
Yeah.
But you still have to do that to the Texas Lotto?
No.
Oh, that one's the exception.
Only with money. Only when there's the prize is money.
But still, I know most
You
of
have to
them
go. You have to get a.
I know a lot of the VWs do that, and I know there are also certain places that offered bingo as sort of a gambling thing. I know in Austin, I think there was a few places that were like quote unquote game rooms where they'd have digital like roulettes and stuff, but they predominantly had bingo games. Yeah. And they'd also give like, instead of scratchers, there were these stickers where you sell someone a sticker, they peel it off, and there's like a win of so much or not, and it's like
pull tabs.
Pull tabs. I know. Yeah, that's like. Yeah.
I used to volunteer with some of the bingo stuff. Yeah, and then like you get a license, and then you have to display the license, and it has to have this date and like the hours. It's real. Yeah. You have to go by the law, or you can get in trouble. And I know there's stuff. There's certain rules that you had to follow, and you had to make sure everybody was following, or you basically.
Can you give some examples? Do you remember?
Anytime somebody won a bingo, one of the people volunteering had to take it and go and stand in front of another player, not another volunteer, someone who was playing. They had to stand with them so the other player could verify that it was a winner.
Wow.
And then they'd shout out the numbers to whoever was pulling the numbers. And that's how they check it. They say, okay, B, whatever, I, whatever. Wow. But then they need that other person just to look at it.
That makes sense.
Just to verify.
But still, it's just like I can see what they're doing, but it's so easily to defy that system.
Yeah, but I remember like it was like one thing that every time we won, if somebody almost forgot and started yelling numbers, they'd right away say, "Hey, get somebody to look at it." Like they, the lady who ran the bingo actually was a cousin of my mother. Mm-hmm. She knew the rules and stuff, and she did it to a T, just to make sure that nobody got in trouble.
Wow. Oh, just a quick FYI, you guys are going to hear a lot of references to Roman's cousins because they are everywhere.
I have 500 people in my family.
That's not an exaggeration at all. Also, there's a good chance that you're related to him, so we'll find that out eventually.
Yeah.
Okay, so wow, that's crazy. Okay, so I know like there are certain areas in Texas where there are casinos, and it's usually reservations of some type.
Yeah. By the way, if we didn't mention it, we're from Texas.
We are in South Texas. So the closest casino to us is the Lucky Eagle Casino.
Kickapoo?
Was it Kickapoo, right?
Oh, Lucky Eagle. Lucky Eagle's in El Paso. Where's Kickapoo?
Oh man, I'm not sure. They're not the same. All right,
I don't know.
Some more research.
Those are the two that I was here.
Those are the two closest to us. So while he looks that up, and those are full casinos. They got roulette, they got poker, they got food, and they get the same thing like miniature Vegas's, but it's just that one casino.
Oh, it's the same casino. Kickapoo, Lucky Eagle.
I was right. Yeah. But I think Kickapoo is the name of. Is that the name of the tribe that's there?
It's the name. Let me
that's another thing too. A lot of those casinos, the money,
Kickapoo, yeah.
The connection to being an actual tribe can be very tenuous. There could be a full-blooded tribe on one area, but the area that got designated, they're like barely related at all, or it's just a name only, or it's just somebody playing with taxes or getting favorites, and it's unfortunate. It could be a very unfortunate situation.
Lucky Eagle is the name.
And it is super out there. It is in the sticks, and we live in the sticks. You'll hear us refer to this area as the boonies, the country, and it is farther in there. But yeah, it's a very modern-looking casino. It's just really out there. Honestly, like I would be afraid to go just because like I feel like I'm going through Nottingham Forest after I won. Like I'm just looking out for Robin Hood. On the way over there, I have no worries. Nobody's gonna bother me because I'm one of the people. As soon as I won $50, I'd be like, oh, I'm the sheriff and I've got bags of gold and people want to take it from me. So much.
I feel like I'd get so nervous. I'd be like, you seen Swingers?
No.
You haven't seen Swingers?
I've heard of it.
You've seen the movie where at the beginning they go to Vegas and stuff. That's where I don't know if you heard that quote. Vegas, baby, Vegas. Mm-hmm. And they go and they're trying to be big shots. They show up in suits and they walk in and the guy's all like, I have $500, but I'm only gonna play with $300. And they go to one table, a blackjack, and they say, okay, $300. They put down $300, and the dealer puts down 3 little chips, and they look at it and say, do you have anything smaller? So yeah, but this is $100 minimum table. And he's like, maybe you'd be more comfortable at one of our lower betting tables. And they show a table where it's like an old lady and a trucker. And
I believe the minimum bet now in Vegas throughout is at tables $5. They do have slot machines that'll go to lower denominations. You don't need this information, but interesting to know.
Yeah, I feel like I'd be one of those guys like in swingers, like here's my money, and then like I don't know what to do.
Yeah, man, I don't know how to get.
And then they lose money, and then the guy's all upset. And it's like the old lady. The old lady's the one who she's just by chance she keeps winning at blackjack, and they give her free room and a free breakfast.
Yeah, that's called a comping. They compensate. Yeah. Well, basically what it is they want you to stay there so they can get more chances to win their money back. And it all depends on how much money you're playing.
I got comped a milkshake once in the drive-thru at Wendy's.
What?
No, was it Wendy's? No, it was a Whataburger.
Yeah, it is a Whataburger.
Because somebody in front of me ordered one and never picked it up.
So
they gave it to me. I was like, yeah, sure, why not?
I wish I had that milkshake money. But, okay, now, here's the thing. So scratchers are legal pretty much everywhere. I don't think there's a state that bans them because it's federally regulated. Mm-hmm. And I know there's a lot of regulations for the people who work for it. I don't believe they are allowed to play any scratch-offs or bet on the numbers or anything like that. But I think certain family members are. And I've heard, allegedly, I've allegedly heard that family members of said people in different states or possibly different countries, anything that ties to us less directly, allegedly win a bit more than people who aren't related to other people related in the gaming industry.
Really?
Yes. What? Oh, no, we're going to have another... no, clearly everybody's honest all the time. But if it says it on the paperwork, that's what they have to do because that's just how they do it. I think. Okay, what was your other point?
The other point? I don't know. I lost track.
Or topic.
Oh, well, I was going to bring up the... What was the topic? Talked about the $100,000. What was the other thing? Oh, but my weird...
weird experience.
Weird experience at Taco Bell earlier. Because, I'm not sure if this is being released before or after the other podcast we already recorded. We previously recorded a podcast. I don't know which one's coming out first.
I feel like just
jump into it. We brought up Taco Bell. And that had it on my mind, so for lunch today, I swung by Taco Bell to get some tacos. I did regret it.
Yeah. Tacos at Taco Bell? Absurd.
Yeah, I kind of regret it. Anyway, I was in drive-thru, and I don't know if I think it was somebody in the parking lot was like blasting their radio in the car. I couldn't hear really what the music was, it was just a weird vibe there. So I pulled into the drive-thru, order, and the lady through the voice box, so the speak box, speaker. She's like, "Hi, honey, can I get your order?" I'm like, "Sure." So I order, and thank you, darling. Come drive up, Those kind of southern gals.
Because we're in Texas.
We're in Texas, doing all honeys. So I go and I pay, and she takes my card. Says, "All right, honey, it'll be whatever the price was. I don't know, like $6 or whatever. I got the cheap $5.
Irrelevant to the story.
She took the card.
Not
I
that
paid.
Expensive platinum menu they have at Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Where they glaze it in gold. They don't use aluminum foil. It's silver.
Yeah, I didn't get the gold dusted.
Enchiladas.
Enchilupa.
Yeah.
Or naked chicken stuff.
Cow. They use pigs that haven't never touched the ground. The literal flying pigs. And they glisten it with cabbages that have been blessed by the Pope with the holiest of waters. Yes, okay. So you didn't get that menu.
Anyway, I got... Okay, so then it was her, the lady, the Southern Belle
at Taco Bell.
Southern Belle at Taco Bell. The Southern Taco Bell. And then this other girl who was just like, I don't know, I guess you would be your typical fast food worker girl. She looked just really skinny and just like she's like her mind was somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just a weird looking.
I'm feeling
woman.
Slightly offended, but I still understand. I feel like you're trying to say something else you don't know how to say.
I don't. Yeah,
typical
I don't know.
Other type of person. She was real skinny, had a lot of energy and jittery, had trouble focusing. Typical quote unquote fast food worker. Because I'm a jerk. That's what I'm getting from you. Continue with the story.
Because I work in a professional kitchen. I look down upon the fast food workers.
You gotta slow cook it. You need a special touch. Le cordon bleu.
Le cordon bleu. You know what sous vide is?
Nothing was parfait at all. Now that's a genuine laugh, because it is terrifying. Continue, sir.
All right. Okay. Well, sorry. I pay. She gives me my beverage. I'm sitting there waiting for my food, and I'm on the phone. I'm on my phone, just looking through stuff, looking for Facebook. And then I get this weird feeling, and I look up through the drive-thru window, and the other girl, not the Southern Belle, she's standing at the drive-thru window, looking at me.
Yes.
With her cheeks puffed out like a fish, or like you take a breath of, like a little girl, and then her eyes bulging out and just looking at me.
That is fantastic.
So I turn and I look at her, and I know that she's joking around. I'm like, okay, this girl has a wicked sense of humor or something. Yeah. She thinks it's funny.
Because it is.
So I stare right back at her. I get the feeling that I make the same face at her, but I'm pretty sure I didn't. But I look at her, and it takes her like at least 5 seconds to realize that I'm looking right back at her. So we're there staring at each other, looking into the oblivion of each other's eyes for 5 seconds, and then she realizes, and I see like it wash over her face, like she realizes he's staring at me, and he's like, she just drops, and there's a moment where she's just like terrified, like I'm gonna get ticked off and start yelling at her or something, or that kind of like,
not at all.
And then just this big goofy smile goes across her face, like I'm joking around, sir. And she starts. I don't hear her because it's like, I don't know. Like there's no sound. I can't hear her, but like I can tell she starts giggling.
What if she wasn't? What if she was just making that motion? Of
maybe she was
whining.
Maybe, but just kind of like, oh, joke, that's funny, right? And I just nodded like along, and yeah, that's funny. And she whimpered away.
So the doors
into
were
the
closed,
kitchen.
right?
It was in the drive-thru. In the drive-thru window.
So she's literally in that little fish tank kind of sticking out window, acting like a goldfish. I bet you she was looking at a reflection.
The window was closed, so she's looking at me through the glass.
I think she was looking at a reflection, like she had just caught sight of it, it tripped her up, and then she probably thought she turned
Maybe that, I didn't think about that. Maybe that's what happened.
When her eyes refocused, she thought she had become a Hispanic male. Because you're doing the exact same face, and she just realized,
so wow, I'm morphed.
I'm the shifter king. The light has struck me.
I didn't think about that. Maybe that was, but she just whimpered back into the kitchen, just like, that was funny.
I need to go now.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then, so I went back to my phone.
Yeah, interesting is a word for that.
I went back to my phone, and then
I can't wait to eat the food this woman prepared for me.
So
what was that word you learned today? Botulism?
Botulism. So, yeah, I like my my quesalupa extra parfait with botulism. So then the window opens, so I turn back, and it's the Southern Belle again with my food, with my box of $5 meat, cheese, and fried tortillas. She gives it to me, and then she tells me something like, "You didn't hear me singing." I'm like, "What?" So I go, "What?" She's like, "You couldn't hear me, right?" And I'm like, "Hear you what?" And I was like, "Uh-oh, what's going on?" I'm like, "Excuse me?" She's and then she says, "Oh, you couldn't hear me singing, right?" I was like, "No, I couldn't hear you singing." So what? And all I hear is the music playing from the outside, from the car in the parking lot. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure they're listening to something else inside. I can't imagine what is. She's like, "Okay, that would be so embarrassing." And she giggles, gives me the food, and then closes it and goes back, whimpers back into the kitchen.
You know what? I bet you if you said the right code words on your order, you'd be getting an extra special $5 quesalupa box.
Maybe I did say the order. Maybe that's why I feel so.
It could be. She said, like, you didn't say it enough. Like, she was looking for those extra code words. I just gotta go, man.
Dude, it's oh shoot, they're running on like another
yeah, they've been doing that a lot here in like everywhere.
I heard about that, but I didn't think about that.
Yeah. No, I just want to meet these people. Like, I need to go there. As soon as I have any kind of money that's more than $1, I'm gonna go, and a car that works. I'm gonna walk through the drive.
This was a Taco Bell in San Antonio, so it wasn't the one here in Lyra.
Yeah, never mind then. Nah, I'm not going that far for a Taco Bell.
All right, yeah.
Fantasticness obliterated. We only got normals here for now.
So I drove off, and I think the first words out of my mouth was like, "What the heck was that?"
Dude,
this is weird.
Dude, you should have.
I feel like I attract weird people in situations like that.
Well, you're in the right line of work for it now.
Oh yeah.
Keep an eye. Yeah, keep. I need more of these stories. I know you've had these interactions.
Yeah.
You know, makes me wonder, like, why don't I attract crazy people like this? And then it made me realize, I have a feeling a lot of people around me say, why do I attract crazy people like this?
I think you would be the person to react appropriately in a situation like that. I don't know what to do. I just stare back at him and I'm like, okay.
I'd give him like the extra side and then be like, here's your quesalupa box with the extra lettuce. And I'd be like, is that lettuce extra crispy, and they'd be like, "It's extra Bob Marley style, sir." And I'd be like, "No, I didn't want it Bob Marley style. I said extra crispy." And they're like, "We're out of extra crispy. You can have only Bob Marley, or you can have nothing. Well, can I just have the regular quesadilla box, perhaps with the flying pig wings parfait down the center?" That's the platinum menu, and you know it. You don't know the special codes to get that for a discount. Where did I go?
I don't know where you went, man. I don't know where you went.
Oh, but no, I can't say that I crave the food so much as I crave some weird experience at a fast food place.
It always seems like a restaurant like that, like Taco Bell or
fast food place.
And not so much like Whataburger. I go to Whataburger, and I never see anything weird at Whataburger.
If you are not from our area, Whataburger is just pick the greatest place that serves burgers in your regional area that's not Whataburger, and it is better than that.
Think In-N-Out, but better.
Yeah, like literally better.
Whataburger is the best fast food burger out there. Well, I don't know. Would you consider Five Guys fast food?
I've never been in there.
You never been to Five Guys?
No.
Oh, you gotta go, man.
I've heard about it, and what do you mean? No, I'm sure. Even though from what I've heard, it is definitely fast food. It might be better quality fast food, but how long do I have to wait for my food? There, it's fast food.
10 minutes?
Boom.
Not more than 10 minutes.
It's fast food. It doesn't mean you can have high quality fast food. There are different levels of it. I mean, sushi.
Five Guys is a good just burger, and then however you want to customize it. Whataburger is the best. Like you just order the burger as it is, or because they got the patty melt, they got the.
You can customize that stuff too.
You could customize it.
And they're good about it.
But they got good combinations already on the menu, like the patty melt, like the AL1 Kitchen Hearty.
So basically, Five Guys is set up because I don't know how it's set up.
Five Guys, you just go, you say you want the double, the single, with cheese, without cheese, and then they have the whole list of toppings, and then you tell them whatever the heck you want.
Okay, I got that. That makes sense. I need to try it out.
We gotta hit up Five Guys. That didn't sound right.
Well, we're not criminals. We would like to go there and give them money in exchange for food to share the experience.
Just for food.
I'm not super stoked about it. From what I've heard, I mean, don't get me wrong. People have praised it a lot when it came around, but it doesn't stick around as a topic like Whataburger.
Whataburger is good. Like if you're one of those people who want to eat fast food every day. Whataburger is
definitely.
Like every
day
day
fast food.
Five Guys is like a couple times a month.
Well, really?
Kind of place, yeah. Like it's good, but like last time I went was on my birthday, which was like 6 months ago.
I said happy birthday to you.
You did?
Wait, did I? No, I didn't.
I don't know. I didn't tell I'd say happy birthday to you.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't think so. Anyway, that side note, sad side note aside.
We're very good friends, and we
are the best of friends. Okay, I don't know where do we start? Fast food places.
We're at 52 minutes, so I guess maybe 10 more minutes.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna have a little filler because I think there's gonna be a lot more cuts in it.
Yeah.
No, so there's other semi-fast food places. Things I would consider a semi-fast food place would be like Olive Garden, Buffalo Wild Wings. These sort of they're kind of marked up as
down, but fast food style.
Basically, yeah. They are meant to hold your attention. They usually have TVs there. Then it's kind of insta food. You know, I don't feel like the chefs really are. You know, it's more cooks in the back. Not judging it, some of the food's great, but you're sort of paying more for them to watch TV.
In order just to eat wings, I prefer to go to Wingstop. Really? I think Buffalo Wild Wings, you got to go with the right crowd, and it has to be the right.
I go by myself, honestly. That's one of the few places I would generally go by myself, just because I love their wings. They have a great price on them. And it's usually, maybe it's just the times that I go, it's a lot quieter. I know a lot of people, exactly what you're saying, they need to go there with a group because they want to watch a game.
The last 2 times that I went to Buffalo Wild Wings was with the group and was late at night, like an hour before they closed. So it was nice and quiet. They wouldn't have
You're a horrible
people.
person. Judge, yeah, to be honest, it's like an hour before you guys, I
thought about it after I said it. I was like, yeah.
The realization hit your face as a cook, that hour, because that's whenever you start doing prep for tomorrow, tearing down a little bit of things, maybe wiping down the skillet and such, and you get that last minute of okay, I just need to keep this part clean because only 1 or 2 people will come in, and boom, a crowd hits it all excited. Hey, we want blah.
What was it, yesterday or the day before that I went and picked up some food in a Mexican restaurant, and I did go maybe 45 minutes before they closed, and the girl who's at the window, I know her. And so I was like, hey, how you doing? And, seemed like she wasn't doing anything. So I was going to just say, hey, talk. And chit chat, but then she got a rag and she was wiping stuff down real quick. So like, oh yeah, they're getting really close. I'll leave her alone. Let her clean up.
I got a job to do, and talking to you is no longer part of it. But I don't think you have to worry as much about, at a Mexican restaurant, they're pretty much just going to reheat whatever you got up. They're going to go by their own rules. That's why the food's so great and dangerous. It's a challenge. It's like, you're going to get something delicious, but will it take you out for the week?
That's true.
I'm doing the squishy eyebrows to imply implications. But no, like I do Wingstop. The thing about Wingstop is, to me, they don't have enough options. It's pretty much just spicy. I think they have lemon pepper.
I guess it's I always pick the same two flavors when I go there.
And the thing is,
the ranch is killer. I hate ranch dressing, but the ranch dressing they have at Wingstop is killer.
I might give that a shot. And the funny thing is, I actually tend to get the same exact wings every time at Buffalo Wild Wings. It's like the garlic parmesan ones.
Ooh, garlic parmesan.
Bone in. Yeah, and I like them kind of dry, man. I like as soon as I bite into it, that to just like take all the hydration out of my face. I want to be a mummy whenever I'm eating it. And then for a while they had this one flavor called like Jamaican jerk. It had a real good flavor to it. And it's so hard to find.
When I went to Buffalo Wild Wings, they had that there. I think I tried.
And I'd like to I like that you have the option of trying some crazy stuff. If you go at the right time and they have like specials on the wings, I can just like, all right, give me 6 of the atomic face exploders, and they're like, you want that now? And I'm like, you know what? I'll take that at the end of the meal. I was like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, sir.
Interesting thing. A couple of things that crossed my path this week concerning censorship.
Oh, do tell. Bring it up.
Okay. Since the last time we were doing the podcast, I remember I mentioned on one of the episodes of the Something Something podcast that I didn't have Netflix. I know we brought that up. Yeah. And like how we watched media and how we consume media. And I said I didn't watch a lot of TV because I just didn't have time to like sit down and watch TV. And I didn't have Netflix. But since then, I have gotten Netflix.
That was a lot of repetition.
Yeah.
Of things you don't have. That was an octuple negative.
Yeah, that's why that's why I try to be so concise. So I have Netflix. I've been watching a lot more TV, and one of the shows was Twin Peaks, which I had seen the first season before, loved it, hadn't seen the second season. I know the second season isn't that bad, isn't as good. Anyway, it was catching up because then I heard that they were doing the third season of Twin Peaks, which has been 26 years since second season.
That's like a whole person.
And I was getting excited because everybody else was getting excited. It's like, I remember liking the first season so much. I went back to watch it
when it first came out.
I saw it in film school. I didn't see it when it first came out. I saw it in film school.
Okay. I forgot Mr. Film School.
Mr. Film School. Yeah.
Just culture all around.
And here I am on a podcast.
Culture podcast. That's a topic.
I guess maybe that's what we should describe as a culture podcast.
Yeah, that sounds like I went to Le Cordon Bleu.
Continue. Anywho, so I've been catching up on Twin Peaks, the first and second season, and I know that they already released, Showtime released the first like 4 or 5 episodes on their channel and on their streaming app, whatever, of the new season. And then I saw on YouTube they released the first 2 episodes of the new Twin Peaks season, I guess to drum up more views and get more interest. Yeah. However, since it's on YouTube, I guess on Showtime they have a TV mature rating. So they released a TV 14 rated version on YouTube. I think we might have. I'm going to talk about it. Maybe we did. I will keep it in this one. Anyway, but there's like, yeah. So there's scenes of nudity and and scenes of like disturbing scenes of a dead body and stuff like that. The way they censor it is just so awkward. Like there's
How do they censor it?
Just a big black box in the screen that covers up. Yeah.
Censorship.
So there's a scene where
No.
Who's the actress? I know I've seen her in some other shows. She looks like one of the Olsens. Like
maybe she's one
not
of
the twins. I don't think she's not one of the Olsens.
She looks like
she's
one
a
of the
TV
Olsens,
actress,
but not the twin.
The other sister, Scarlet Witch. She kind of looks like Scarlet Witch. But I know she's a TV actress. So she starts stripping, and
I feel like people don't want to hear the full description. She gets naked, a big black box.
But it's like as soon as she pulls down her pants, there's a big black box that appears in the screen. And so, but like.
But censorship.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
which is I'm all okay. On YouTube, it has to be censored because a lot of people can see it. I understand, but it just seems so clumsy. And there's also whenever they bring up they reveal a dead body, it's like they don't censor the whole body. They censor like the private parts. I guess you see the private parts, and then like where the neck is cut. I'm assuming because they like just censor the neck, and then there's two boxes that are different shapes.
What?
So it's like they're censoring specific parts. Same with the naked girl.
That is weird.
They don't censor her whole body. It's like one big black box where her butt is, and then one small box where her side boob would be.
Huh.
And I mean,
So we just went at that with a black marker of nope.
Yeah. So like I mean, I figured there would be a more creative way to do that if you're going to release it on YouTube. And I like that they released it on YouTube. I'm all for that because I got to see it and I was like, okay, I'm more excited, so let me go finish watching Netflix.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like that wasn't somebody's job and they had to do it. They're like, hey,
maybe,
Marky, come over here. You know that guy Mike? Hey, you know Mike. Call Mike over here. Hey, Mike, I know this isn't your job per se, but we're gonna need you here to edit some of this stuff out. If it looks like it to defend your granny, go ahead and mark it out. Do something creative with it. And Mike's like, no. And then boom, just like there, not my job.
And I mean, in the first episode, it was just 2 scenes, so I mean, it was brief. It wasn't a whole lot of censorship, a lot of editing, but it just seemed so awkward. And I was like,
that's why, because it wasn't someone's job.
Is there a way to censor movies? Because I know, like Crank, the first one, they did a funny thing about censorship. Is on the DVD they have an alternate audio version. Yeah. They call it family friendly, where they replace all the expletives with just random weird words.
That's funny.
But they keep all the violence and the nudity and the sex in it. So that's not censored, just the language, which is, I guess it's like it's a joke,
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's funny.
But then there was another thing that I read earlier today.
I heard about something similar. It was about Sony?
Sony, yes.
Yeah, okay. I heard about this a little bit. So basically, Sony Entertainment wants to start releasing movies with a family-friendly version of it. And it would be filmed exactly the same way, but they'd want a permission to do extra edits for special versions where they cut out language and nudity. Now, I did not know that apparently this has already been sort of touched on by several organizations.
There's businesses. One of them is ClearPlay and one's VidAngel.
And some are apps, some are websites,
some are streaming services.
Even, I think I heard like back in the day there was like a DVD player or VHS thing.
Yes.
That has like, how do you do that? How did it monitor it?
It would censor any movie that you put in.
That, but like, what was the tech?
I don't know how the technology works.
Like, did somebody? Well, anyway, the point is now the reason you hadn't heard about that because legally, that counts as altering the film, which unless you're the copyright holder, you're forbidden from doing. You're allowed to do it for creative whenever you see the thing at the beginning and it says you can't do anything with this for public distribution without
public
permission.
Display. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what that means. Now, for your personal use, you can do whatever you want with it. But it's coming up in court because legally you're allowed to edit things the way you want for personal use. But legally, as well, they're not allowed to edit anything that's for public distribution. So this is coming up in court. This is kind of come up in court right now.
And I know that they already have clean. Well, that's what they're calling it. They're calling these clean versions of their movies. Sony's releasing all these clean versions of the movies, and they do stuff like this for movies that are shown on airplanes or they show them on TV. But they're trying to release these on streaming. So people could watch it and I guess drum up more of an audience so parents can watch it with their kids. Well, but it kind of doesn't make sense.
I can see how it makes sense to some people. From what I've heard
from a person... In theory, editing so a younger crowd can see it makes sense. But like some of these movies, I have a list here.
Oh yeah, there's some classics that didn't seem like they would need editing. But I've heard some people, one of the big companies that did it was specifically a Mormon company. Mm-hmm. And they said, we're involved in the world too, and just because we have religious restrictions on what we can watch, we shouldn't be restricted from the conversation. And somebody made the counterpoint to that, well, you're still not really part of the conversation because a big part of things like, I think Terminator was a big example of how much stuff was cut out. It was sort of predominantly most of the movie. And I'm not sure where do I lay on this. You know? I could see the personal edit technology. Like, if somebody wants to, okay, I want to watch this movie. Oh, my kid wants to watch it too. Well, I don't need to hear it. I still am familiar enough with the movie. It's like how you would be covering your kid's eyes or fast forwarding through it.
Yeah.
If I had that option to tap that button and go, all right, now we can watch it together. But selling it as separate options.
One of the movies that's on the list that they're going to release was Ghostbusters.
Which one?
And both of them. The first two.
To clarify, not the remake.
Not the remake. And I wanted to show my little brothers and sisters, my step brothers and sisters, and my daughter the movie Ghostbusters, and I knew there was two things in there that I would find offensive. They do curse, and it is pretty scary, but I was like, I think they can handle that. The one scene is that dream sequence with Dan Aykroyd.
Oh yeah.
The ghost appears and
we know.
And something you don't see it, but it implies So I knew that I had to be there in order to fast forward, and that's what I did. When the moment came, I told them too. I told my brothers and sisters and my daughter, hey, there's a scene, I'm gonna skip it. Don't even ask why. You don't need to see it. And they said okay, and I skipped it, and they kept watching the movie, and they enjoyed it. The other scene was. I think wasn't it like I think Sigourney Weaver starts like taking off her clothes or something.
Well, she didn't take it's part 2, right?
Oh, that's in part 2. Yeah,
she's going to the baby's bath, and she was like, that's whenever the goo comes out to attack both of them. And that makes me think. When we talk about how a lot of movies get remade and they end up having sort of a toned down rating system, like the new Ghostbusters was PG-13, the new Terminators, the last 2 were PG-13.
Yeah.
Here's my thought on that real quick, connection to censorship.
Yeah.
I think the reason they do it is because it becomes so popular because they're so enjoyed when people saw them as an R rating that they don't mind as much watching an edited version on TV. They end up getting their kids watching it, other people, and they sort of forget that it was actually an intense movie that they were watching originally. So they're still being fed by nostalgia. The people around them who hadn't seen it in full glory are sort of fed by your enthusiasm for it. And then that makes people think that they want a PG-13 version when they don't.
But there's so many movies like Die Hard and so many movies that I would love for my brothers to see. But I know I'd rather just wait until they're age appropriate and then show them the fully uncut versions. And because some of these movies too that they're releasing, it's like, okay, the Spider-Man movies, Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, and the 2 Amazing Spider-Man movies, was there really anything offensive in that?
Apparently, language and maybe violence. You know which one I'm really thinking about? Think about sort of what we consider classics.
Yeah.
Schindler's List. How much stuff would be edited out of that?
But okay, movies like that, like Schindler's List. On this list, there's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and there's like Elysium or what's the other one right here? Step Brothers. Am I really that wanting to show either my 4-year-old daughter or my 7-year-old sister those movies that much that I'm gonna show them an edited version? Why?
If they're ready to see it, they're ready to see it in the full glory as it was intended.
I wouldn't even. One of the other movies here is Pixels. Why in the world would I show them Pixels in any form?
Because it's a glorious movie of nostalgia.
And why would I want to?
The other thing about that movie, that is 100% a nostalgia movie.
Yeah, and like it was like Step Brothers is on this list. Why would I want to watch an edited version, a censored version of Step Brothers with my brothers, or my little brother, let's say, and it not be funny? I'd rather much just watch the movie by myself, unedited.
You know what's funny? Those movies, especially the ones that he makes, those are sort of famous for having the sort of unrated versions.
Yeah.
The actual one that you would either see in theaters or what was the original cut. The one that's theatrical released or the original cut, those tend to be the edited down version already. So
I guess there's one. Okay, there's one example. Wolf of Wall Street. Did you saw that movie? Did you like it?
Yeah.
Okay. I was one of the few people who did not like it.
I could see why people wouldn't.
Okay. Part of the reason I like it was the excessive swearing.
It was
the sex stuff. And not just because it was swearing and sex stuff. I've seen a whole bunch of movies where they're swearing and sex stuff.
It was super over the top.
Yeah, but that I'm okay with. But the one thing that I think The Wolf of Wall Street, just story-wise, it didn't give a really strong enough ending to it as to where it was like,
It was a guy doing bad things, and he got his comeuppance.
But the thing is, it's based on a true story.
It is based on a true story. But if I say all the profanity,
excesses,
sexual material, it bothers me. If they offered me an edited version of that movie, I wouldn't watch it just because I know that the story is not interesting.
I don't know.
You know, that's the thing. There's another reason why I would. It wasn't just because of that objectionable material. It's because of what the story was saying. Like if they took off, all the objectionable stuff, I still wouldn't have any interest in seeing it.
I have my personal commentary on that, sort of a sidestep from the censorship. The story, the excesses of it, the vulgarities of them. People, it sort of had the same thing that happened with what was that movie? Wall Street, and before that it was
Wall Street.
It was Wall Street, yeah.
Wall Street.
Part one. Okay, that was another one where you were supposed to be disgusted with these characters for the opulent way they lived. But what happened was people were obsessed with it. And the funny thing is, they did similar things in Russia. In Russia, or in communist countries, they let them watch shows like Dallas, which is I don't know if they make it anymore.
They did a reversion,
but it's basically a soap opera about these rich people, oil families, and like the opulent lives they live, and like all this stuff, and it's like the worst of capitalist consumerist society. And they would allow those shows in communist countries and a few others that had opulent lifestyles to show like how terrible we are. And it backfired because people wanted those lives.
Yeah.
Wall Street and Wolf of Wall Street both had a similar effect, made for American audiences to show how terrible these people were, the disgusting way they lived. This is wrong. And people took the totally different.
But Scorsese perfected that kind of story in Goodfellas, and in an extent Casino, where to show that kind of like, this is this lifestyle.
Also true stories.
Well, true story.
Well, Casino and Goodfellas.
Goodfellas
was a true.
Yeah, both of them were true.
Okay, well.
But it was so much better done because you could see it was a cautionary tale. I think what happened with Wolf of Wall Street was that it was an independent movie, so they had more freedom to do whatever they wanted, and they just like ran with it. And the movie didn't need to be 3 hours long.
I could see. Yeah, I liked it.
And Leonardo DiCaprio, I have to say, the performance in that movie is flawless. He does such a great job.
I'm nodding.
But you never come to the point where you like his character. At least for me, I got to the point with Goodfellas where Henry Hill was like, he's a cool guy. I like him. He's doing bad things, and I don't want to be him, but I understand him. Yeah. With Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort just seemed like such a jerk.
He's an unlikable guy. From what I understand, he's still sort of unrepentant for the way he behaved. The beginning of the story, he's a likable guy. You can sort of see him, how he got turned around, and
If anything, with it, the one brilliant scene from Wolf of Wall Street that I would just watch one scene from Wolf of Wall Street if I had a chance. What's it gonna be? No, heck no. In the beginning, after he loses his first job on Wall Street, and he goes to the penny stocks or whatever, and then like the guy's interviewing. What's his name? It's their other director.
I have no idea. I thought Scorsese was the extent of it. It doesn't matter, so just go on.
Where he starts the penny stocks, and he goes in, and like everybody else is like trying so hard to make money, and so he goes in, and then he just like calls one person and like gets like $4,000 or something. Yeah.
And everybody's like, "How did you?"
Yeah, how did you do that? That scene is brilliant.
I concur.
But I think it's after. I think the movie lost me after when he meets the other, what's the name?
Wait, the guy,
not Seth Rogen. Yeah, the other guy. Jonah Hill, who's a brilliant actor too.
Those
I love his
scenes
stuff.
were very distracting, but
after that scene where they meet and then they do drugs. They do drugs for the first time together.
Was that also based on shooting?
It lost me after.
It pulled me to the side for a minute. Like, did that really happen? That sort of changed the tone.
I know they improvised some of it.
Was that whole scene improvised?
I think maybe the drugs
scene was one improvised. Where I did that made me think, this is not happening. This really? Yeah. This went this far.
It lost me after that, and it was just like the story and the characters were bad, and then the objectionable material on top of that just made it worse. That was like the
objectified.
Yeah, it was like the icing on the cake that just brought it down, and I was like, nah.
Definitely, I gotta say, man, I've got that greed monkey on my back, and it was like making me smile the whole time I watched it. I kind of hated myself a little bit more after watching that movie for having enjoyed it, and it was because of the reasons I shouldn't. It's like, oh, that opulent lifestyle, I want so much stuff. Terrible person that I am, and I'm working on it. I am working on it, and I think, I don't know. I'm hoping it's just my brain wanting to dream. I'm hoping I wouldn't turn into that guy who just blows all the cash, goes into debt, and then I'm making $30 a day. Because right now I make 56.
56.
Whoa. Okay, so thanks again for listening to the Roman Roads podcast. Please, if you had any comments, do let us know on whatever format you're watching this on. If you want to hear different topics, let us know. If you don't like the way we talk to each other, let us know. If you want to hear specific things, if you want us to tone it down, tone it up, there's probably not much we're going to change in that aspect. But please let us know. We like hearing from you. Links.
Yeah, you can find us on Facebook at The Roman Roads Podcast. That's facebook.com/The Roman Roads Podcast. And on YouTube, very soon we will be posting video of our podcast.
Please like and share to people you don't like or normally share things with. Yeah. We would appreciate it.
So also on YouTube at The Roman Roads Podcast. And in the case that you get the itch and want to email us anything, any comments, questions, concerns, if you're concerned about our...
Share funny links if you want.
If you're concerned about us, and we're always get back to talking to food on this podcast.
Because it's connected to everything, and you're on a diet and hungry, and I'm broke and hungry.
Yeah.
We're two broke guys. Also, Patreon.
Yeah, so email us at romanroadspodcast at gmail.com. That's just romanroadspodcast@gmail.com. No the in front of there.
Spell it out for them.
Yeah, Roman Roads is spelled ROMANRODEZ.
Gmail.com.
No slashes, ands, or ampersands in the middle. And we have a Patreon page. If you like what you're hearing, would like to support us with maybe just a couple bucks a month, you can find us on Patreon at the Roman Roads Podcast. Hopefully by the time you're hearing this, we'll have all the information up there on our Patreon page, so support us if you like. If not, keep listening. We're going to release this for free because we love doing this, and it lets us...
It's fun. It's a fun thing
to do.
Yeah,
have fun.
We would appreciate any donations. It'll go towards maybe a better mic or an extra mic. We'll put it towards the show.
Yeah, you know Mike.
Yeah, you know Mike.
Inside joke that I guess we'll explain later someday.
Probably not. But thanks for listening, guys. Please check us out next time. As always, it was a great time. I'm Rhodes.
And I'm Roman. And this is the Roman Roads Podcast.
Burp.
Thanks for listening.
Please go tell your friends. Funny dance.
You want to dance?
I said funny dance.
Oh, funny dance.
It was amusing.